Hey friends, welcome back to Mustard Seed Homesteading. If you're new to my channel, my name is Megan and welcome to my garden. I'm really glad that you're here. What I normally do every week on this channel is I give garden tours, and right now I am harvesting still because our frost is not until November 6th. But I do have seed starts in the garage gearing up for the fall season. I've already done one bed where I planted a few seeds, so we're gonna go around the garden. You're gonna see where it's at. You're gonna harvest with me, but you're also gonna hear what I plan to do for the fall. So let's get started. Okay, so this first bed, which is my pepper bed, I always start from this end of my garden and work my way down just because it helps me to keep things in order. But for those that have been following me, my pepper bed, I've definitely decided to overwinter this. So by the time you see my next week's garden tour, hopefully this bed, I'm going to rip out this basil. And I plan to refill the bed. You can see that it has gone down, the soil's gone down, which happens, that's natural. But what I plan to do is plant some sort of a root crop all the way around the perimeter. I'm gonna let these pepper plants just continue to thrive until the frost, and then I'm gonna cut them down to stubs and maybe even try covering them for the winter. And I'm just gonna experiment with this, you guys. I don't know if it's gonna work, but it's worth trying just because my overwintered peppers, for my previous videos, if you've been following me, you'd see how many peppers I actually harvested from overwintered peppers. So it looks like we do have some peppers. So this one I think is definitely ready to harvest. So let's grab this one. And then this one, if you'd seen, look at how much it has turned red, but it still needs a little bit more time. So we'll probably get this one next week. But here's another red cayenne pepper. So let's harvest this one. And you can see now they're really coming in now. They are just coming in. And then this is actually turning red too. So this one probably needs a couple more days. And then I want to say we do have some hot habaneros. They still haven't turned orange yet on me, but we'll give that some time. And that's partially why I want to leave them in the bed, because my overwintered peppers did so well, but also because there's just so many flower buds, and I know that here it's still going to stay warm even through the month of October, and I want to be able to harvest a lot of peppers. See, here's some more right here. I think this is the orange cayenne pepper. So let's see what happens. I think, like I said, it's worth trying. And now for all of my green beans. Thankfully, every week, as you've seen on my garden tours, I've been able to harvest green beans every single week, which has been really nice. We have Gold Rush, Royal Burgundy, and then I believe these are Jaden Contenders. And then the other side was Antigua and Maricot. I can't remember the name. Oh, here we go. Maxabel Haricot Bush green beans. So those have been nice because they've been really nice and thin, and I do like thin green beans. So let's go ahead and harvest these. Okay, so let's start harvesting. I want to add real quick, if you still have at least another month and a half until your frost, try to plant a couple of bush green beans because you still have time to grow them. Not the vining ones, you want the bush green beans. Sometimes I'll just bend down and see if there's any green beans, because from the top with all the leaves, it makes it really hard sometimes.
Now, when it comes to preserving my green beans, I like to clean them in a vinegar bath is what I like to call it, then snip the ends and I freeze them. And when I want to cook them, I will pull them out and typically cook them in the cast iron with butter and salt. It is so delicious and very simple. Now, I know that you can can them and you could freeze dry them. I just haven't done those methods yet.
Now I do see a cucumber here that I want to go ahead and harvest. Let's see if I can get a close up. I've been very fortunate to keep getting cucumbers. So we're gonna harvest this if I can. Now my cucumbers over here are still producing, and so I'm just gonna let them keep going. I have pruned off some diseased leaves, but you can see there's no leaves right here and it's just the vines and stuff. But up top I'm still getting cucumbers. You can see one here, right there. There's a few over here somewhere, and then this one over here is my favorite. And so this one is still growing. I'm hoping I can at least get one more of these, and then there's a few down here. So I'm not in a huge hurry to just take these out because they are planted along the box right here. So I'm just gonna let them go probably until I have to pull them out, and then plant something in place of it once I pull them. Now let's harvest some green beans over here. I am starting to lose a bit of light here, but we're gonna do the best we can. Look at all the purple buds from the Royal Burgundy. This is what we got so far. There's a lot more flower buds coming, so I'll probably harvest some more next week. Oh, look at all these green beans. I'm fighting the rain right now, you guys, so I'm gonna have to try to hurry. Now with this next bed, these are my peppers. I did pull out a lot of basil that was around here just for my peppers to breathe, and I'm so glad that I did, because there are a lot of peppers that are now starting to come in, and you can see all of the flowers on here. We do have a few to harvest, some serranos, but I think we're gonna give this a few more weeks. And what I definitely plan to do with this bed is I'm going to refill it with bok choy soil and black cow compost. I'm just going to lift this up, probably put something to keep it up. I'll add some more soil and compost like I said, and then I'm going to plant a root crop around the edges. And then once October-ish comes around is probably when I will pull these plants out. And now we're starting to get poblanos over here. I'm starting to think that poblanos are very prolific peppers to grow. And I think that's going to be a part of my garden every year now. Now, because it's on and off raining, I'm probably just going to quickly harvest all of my tomatoes and then show you at the end. But I want to give you a recap on what I've done over here, because you can see this has fresh straw and those are still the same. So last night, what I did was I lifted up this grid and I added bok choy soil and black cow compost, and then I added some fresh straw. And then what I planted here along the edge are parsnips, all the way down this edge. And then what I plan to do here is put some carrots, as well as over here, I'm gonna put some carrots. And then once my seed starts in the garage are ready for planting, I'm hoping probably by October is when I'm gonna do this, is when I'm just going to cut this and leave the stem in here. pull these sticks out, and then I plan to put my seedlings in each one of these squares. And that's my goal for my fall garden with this bed, that bed, as well as this one and those two over there. And then over here along this line for the trellis is where I'm going to put my telephone snap peas because they grow pretty tall. And I had really great success with them. And so that's what I plan to do again. Just like over here where I have all my Kentucky Wonder green beans is what I plan to do on the other side, but with the telephone snap peas. Now, before I move on to the rest of the tomatoes, I do want to grab some Kentucky Wonders. As you know, these have been all over my tomato plants and my sunflower plants. And so they're still growing, which is wonderful, because I really thought for a while that I wasn't going to get any because of those bugs. I wanted to show you this tomato. If you remember from last week, it's still growing. So hopefully by next week's tour, it'll be showing some blush so I can harvest it. Look at those green beans up there. Do you see them? They're everywhere. Oh my goodness, there's more in there. That's a lot. So up top here, there's a ton of Cherokee purple tomatoes that are really green, and there's a lot more blossoms. There's one right there. So I don't know, this one I could definitely pick, but I kind of wonder if they're gonna turn green for me before I have to take them down. I mean, I could always use green tomatoes for something, but it would be nice to have them ripened or at least blush. And now my two bush Romas have a few that are finally blushed that I can start to harvest. This has been a really nice tomato plant because you don't need a lot of space, and I was able to grow them in 2 grow bags, which has been really nice. Now this bed has gotten enormous. These tomato plants, these are beefsteaks. They have gotten so tall and so big, and with the green beans in there, I'm sorry, I'm trying to get the best lighting because I am losing lighting here because it's getting dark earlier, but there's a bunch of green beans and tomatoes up there that are fruiting. So I'm going to see if I can get up there and get some. Otherwise, I may have to wait. All right, well, it is really massively busy in there, and it's hard to get in there, but this is what I managed to harvest from up there, and there's a lot of green tomatoes still. And to give an update on these 2 beds, same thing goes with the last time. What I said, once it's time to pull these and I have to put in my seedlings in the garage, I'm just gonna pull them, and I'm definitely gonna be taking the basil out because I have harvested enough basil. I don't really need to do that anymore. But you guys, look at, I finally have a tomato that blushed. So that one looks like it's starting to blush, but I'm gonna give it a little bit more time, and then this one needs to grow just a bit more. So we're gonna finally harvest our first watermelon beefsteak tomato of the season. And I dropped it, but here it is. It's beautiful, and I couldn't be more happy. And there's some of these. Now for the back of my garden, I'm gonna try to just hit the spots that have some food to harvest because I am losing lighting. But let's see, let's start over here real quick with all of my overwintered peppers. Now you can see that they're finally starting to turn color. So I have 2 here and a few more flowers here. Now those 2 are turning red, but they're not quite red all the way. This one is, so we are going to go ahead and harvest this. It is pretty with the lighting outside. This red just pops. It is such a beautiful pepper, and these taste so sweet and so delicious. And it looks like we have 1 poblano at least to harvest. Every week, you guys, I've been able to harvest poblanos, which has been, oh, I keep dropping stuff because it's so wet. It's been really nice to be able to harvest at least 1 or more a week. And then I want to say we finally have a new Lemix lemon jalapeno pepper to harvest. You see how yellow that is? It is such a beautiful pepper. Let me see, all of these leaves are in the way. Hold on. You see how beautiful that is? So this is a yellow jalapeno and it's called New Lemix. It is such a beautiful jalapeno, and there's a bunch more up there, but they're not yellow quite yet, so we're gonna hold off on that. I do want to quickly add this bed of comfrey. Look at how fast it grew from when I harvested a whole bunch of leaves to make a fertilizer. So far, you guys, the fertilizer is doing pretty good, but I did find these little bug-like things that were swimming in there, so I'm not really sure how I feel about that. I need to do a little bit more research. It might be normal, but I was not about to go put that on my plants if it isn't. So here are some more sunray tomatoes. This one's split, but these are so beautiful, so we're gonna harvest those. And then here's another one. And then most of these 25-pound bags are tomatoes, and we do have quite a bit of tomatoes that are growing. It's just that they're not flush yet, they're still green. So this one's been really, really, really good. This is the Martha F1, and I believe this is also Martha F1 too. This one does really well, growing prolifically. And then it looks like we have more here. It seems like all the bags in the back here now have tomatoes, which I'm really happy about, because while I take care of the beds, I can just let these continue to grow. And then once they're done, I can put in a cooler weather crop. Now these ones, if you've seen, I want to say it was maybe my last tour, these are taking forever, and I'm now starting to see blossoms, which we'll see if we get anything from them, but I don't think I'm going to be planting those again because they just took too long. Now I will say, in the buckets, the basil, the holy basil, is doing really, really good, which this is probably my last batch that I will harvest towards the end of the season, because they're growing a lot in the bucket garden. Now I do have some green beans in the buckets, and it looks like we have some to harvest, which is nice. Now back here with all the bags that are on the pallets, there's really not much to show because I had planted a whole bunch of bush green beans. I'm hoping to get at least one, maybe 2 plantings before the cold season. And then I did go ahead, like I said the last tour, I did plant some squash plants, and they did come up, they did germinate for me. So we'll see, you guys. I am rooting all the way till the end, but what I do want to show you are these tomatoes. This was from the tomato plant that I overwintered. These are the Martha F1s, you guys. Look at how beautiful those are. So I'm gonna go ahead and harvest. Now I'm not planning to keep this again, this plant, but I might overwinter. Oh, excuse me. I might overwinter one of the newer Martha F1s because that plant, and it's not a very pretty looking plant, so it's starting to, when it starts to get dark, it loses focus quicker. But I might keep the Martha F1 because that plant was the first one, that was the plant that gave me my first tomato for the year. So I don't know, I may do that. And real quick, I just want to touch on this green bean plant in these bags. So I've been harvesting them, and now the new plants, which are right here, I'm gonna pull these out when these flowers and this plant is done producing, and I'm gonna let this one then come behind it and start producing, which I think is one of the best things that I've done because bush green beans are kind of easy for me to grow. And so I wanna have a continuous harvest. Now all of my tomato plants here, I just harvested a few that I saw and put them in my basket, but there are a lot of green tomatoes. You probably can't see because it is starting to get dark out, but there is a lot of green tomatoes that I know will turn red because we're gonna have a few more hot days before November 6th. So I'll just harvest those and then we will take them down. Okay, so real quick, I did want to add in this tour this bed right here. This is a wood rolling cart. It's not really rolling that good anymore. I had my garlic in here, and when I harvested all of my garlic, this kind of became a catch-all for plants that I didn't have room to plant in the garden. I did have a metal bed back there that was supposed to be put into the ground, but we just did not have any time. And the majority of what was supposed to go in that bed were these peppers. So this is mostly bell peppers and I think a few hot peppers. But what I plan to do with these is I plan to overwinter them. These really shot up and got really green these last couple of weeks, and you can see there's even some flowers on here. But again, because I overwintered some of my pepper plants, and I had such great success, that's what I'm just going to do with these. I'm going to take these and probably put them in somewhat of a larger pot, nothing crazy. And I'm just going to overwinter them and then put them out in the spring. The other thing I have in here are strawberry starts. So my strawberry tower that's over there by my GREENSTALKs, I just took some runners out. I stuck them in some pots because I wanted to fill in some spots that didn't do well. And I also want to start a whole other tower of strawberries. So that's there. And then these over here are Meyer lemon trees. So I have family in Florida and they sent me seeds. And I do have a video on that. I can link it below. But I did not get a chance to put these in kind of a larger pot. I actually really have not been taking care of them because the summer's just been really busy. So I'm probably going to put these in a larger pot as well, stick them in my garage, and then put them out come spring. So I just wanted to share this with you all. I am going to be making a video on how I overwinter my pepper plants, so definitely be looking for that. It's exactly what I did last year that gave me success. And here's my wall of herbs in the metal cart. They're all in their own individual bags. I have bee balm, catnip, thyme, oregano, rosemary, lavender, and sage. I did just harvest this about 2 weeks ago, so they look a little bare, but I have really enjoyed them right there against the retaining wall where I can just come out and harvest. And my goal with these, because most of these are perennials, is to leave them here so that they can grow again come spring. Well, friends, it is getting dark out, so let's see what we harvested. So we harvested a lot more tomatoes, green beans, a cucumber, some peppers, and I couldn't be more excited. I've just been so blessed that I've been able to harvest every single week, because what that has allowed me to do is not have to rely on going to the grocery store for fresh produce, which has been such a blessing to my family and I. So thanks for stopping by, and I really look forward to seeing you all again. Bye. Hey friends, it is the next day. It was just getting way too dark, but I couldn't end the video without sharing a little bit of encouragement. So I just want to say, be encouraged, and always stay inspired. And I'll see y'all next time. Bye.